Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are going to be discussing Liverpool and their latest dealings in the transfer market. So the first one is Milos Kerkez. This was known by all. It was no secret. We've known about this for a good few weeks now. £40 million coming in from Bournemouth after an incredible season. And this is a really solid bit of business. You secure one of the best left-backs in the league, aside from Anthony Robinson, who also had an incredible season last year. And 40 million seems to be about the going rate. That is what the top teams are paying for a player in this position, but this definitely strengthens Liverpool. Remains to be seen what eventually happens with Andy Robertson, but regardless, we know that Milos Kerkez has come in to play football. He will be starting on that left-hand side. Another bit of news regarding Liverpool is the fact that it does appear that conversations are ongoing for Darwin Núñez for a potential transfer to Napoli. Now, we originally thought that it was going to be Saudi Arabia, but it seems that Napoli are indeed quite interested. Conte wants him to be part of the project, and you can see why. He's got a similar sort of profile to the striker that Conte likes to have, spearheading his attack, the likes of Lukaku, for example, who served him well in the past at Inter Milan. He had Diego Costa at Chelsea, and obviously he brought Lukaku in at Napoli again. So he wants that powerful striker, the big man up top, who's got a turn of pace, who can bully defenders. And it's a really interesting one because when I look at Darwin Núñez, I think there's a player in there. I think we can all agree on that. I remember those 2 goals that he scored against Newcastle at St James's Park. Very few players can do that, but he's frustrating in the sense that he will score you some absolute worldies, do some incredible things, and then go completely unnoticed. He'll miss a sitter, and you just can't allow for that. If you're challenging for Champions League and your competition is the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, you can't miss sitters. You've got to finish your dinner. You've got to bury your chances. And he just doesn't guarantee that. Would he be able to develop his game to a stage where he's able to become that profile of striker? Potentially. I always use the example of Vinicius Jr. For those that remember, when he arrived at Real Madrid, he was awful in front of goal. He had a lot of industry, all the tricks, all the flicks, but he couldn't finish his dinner. He just couldn't, for whatever reason. And this was developed, and he has improved. But occasionally, you do see him almost do, I call it the granny pass, where he passes the ball about 3 miles an hour. It's a disappointing trickle of a ball, and it's almost as if he's giving the pass to the opposition goalkeeper, like, here you go, here's a freebie. And I just don't see that same venom that you have from the likes of a Kylian Mbappe. I'm quite confident when I say this. I don't think you will ever transform Vinicius into a killer like Kylian Mbappe. I think that expectations of 40 goals a season are ludicrously wide of the mark. And with Vinicius Jr., you always expect somewhere within that 20 to 25 range. And is Darwin Núñez similar? Is it possible to coach him to get him to that stage where he is guaranteeing you that sort of return over the course of a season? Or is it an exercise in futility? And as far as his replacement goes, Liverpool fans, who do you want to see coming up front? There are various names being mentioned. Victor Gyökeres was one that was mentioned today, but there have been conflicting reports on that front as well. There have been lots of people denying that particular one, and it seems like United and Arsenal are also involved on that front. On the other hand, you've got Victor Osimhen. Is he worth the money? Is he worth the investment? Is he worth losing Darwin Núñez, Chiesa, and potentially up to 20 million euros in addition? David Ornstein talked about Alexander Isak, how this one is extremely unlikely, how Newcastle do not have to sell. He's got 3 years left on his contract. It would take an astronomical figure to even make them consider releasing Isak. And fair play. They are in the Champions League. They've got unlimited funds. Why do they have to dispense with their best asset? It doesn't make any sense for a team that are looking to compete going forward. So I really think that this is an interesting one to keep our eye on. But what is clear is that it does seem that Liverpool are in the market for that traditional 9. And we haven't seen that in a while. And Liverpool have had some absolute gems over the years. You think about the likes of Luis Suarez, Fernando Torres, really showing my age on some of these, even going back as far as Michael Owen, although you can't really say that on Merseyside anymore, apparently. But the point is that over the years, they've had some sensational 9s. Even Bobby Firmino, who was more of like a hybrid, more of a Karim Benzema. He linked the attack with the midfield, more of a 10, if I'm honest. But still undeniable quality. It looks like that's the profile that they are looking for. Someone who can do the job and finish those chances. Liverpool fans, let me know who you would like to sign for that role. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care.